Okay, how are you doing?
Good.
Yeah? All right. Thank you for coming.
No
I
problem.
appreciate it. You did this last week or the week before,
Yeah, I think the week before.
and then I was listening to it because, I wasn't here. So I was listening to the podcast in the car with the family on our way to church, from church, and hearing lots of interesting things about your story. And I'm like, oh, wait. Now we need this to do the story in English, but I already know some of the story. So anyway, I've thought of, let's see, where's my notes? I have thought of a few different questions. So we don't talk about all the exact same things.
Okay.
We can talk about different things. But yeah, the idea of this podcast is that we're hearing about how God works in each of us. Like, no matter who we are, if we're His children, He's done miracles in our lives, right? So that's the goal.
Okay.
All right, let's pray.
All right.
Lord, thank you for my brother David. Thank you for his life. Thank you that we get to learn a little bit more about each other and how you have worked in his life, brought him to where he is now. And I pray that you would help us to relax a little bit from all the stress of work and ministry. Good things which you have given us to do, but that can be weighty sometimes, the responsibilities and the things pulling at our attention. So help us to take a breath and to just remember how you have been faithful, how you have worked things beyond what we had imagined, and that you are the God who is faithful, not only to begin things, but to complete the work that you have started in us. So I pray that this conversation would be a blessing to us and also a blessing to others. I pray this in Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, all right. So, your name is David Loyola. I know that much.
That's right. Yeah.
And how long have you been working here now?
I have working here 20. We are running the 21 year here at Rio Grande.
21 years serving at Rio Grande.
Exactly.
That's a good amount of time.
Yeah, it's when I say that, seems like something natural. But thinking a little bit more, I said, 20. It's a time.
Yeah.
It's a time. It's almost the life of one young student here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Someone who, like Santiago or Julian, got here when they were 17.
Exactly.
So it's more time than some of our students have lived.
Yeah.
So it is a good amount of time. Something that I've appreciated about getting to know you and your time here, my time here, is like your wisdom and experience that you bring to the ministry, because the Lord has given you experience in a lot of different roles, not just here, but before coming here as a pastor.
Yeah.
Different like missionary experience. But even here, you have been done different jobs. So I know you as a professor. I know you as the assistant to the president, right? And then vice president of education.
Yeah.
And what other jobs have you done that I don't know about?
Okay. Well, the first one responsibility I had here at Rio Grande, it was the assistant to the general manager of radio.
Oh,
actually, I came to serve at Rio Grande to radio.
Radio Esperanza.
Exactly.
Okay.
So usually I used to say that I had my office and my throne and my voice, because I like it to talk in the microphone to the people, and so.
And you have a good voice.
Well,
we have used your voice before for video and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to say that because I came to work at radio, and then I was something happened when I was applying to be part of Rio Grande Bible Ministries. I applied to be just half-time worker.
Okay.
with radio. That was the main thing. But the Lord had another plan. So when I applied for that, I was called for the president in that time, and he told me, "Do you know what the application for half-time here working is the same that the full-time?"
Okay.
So if in the future you want to be full-time worker, you don't need to apply again or nothing else. It's the same thing. And said that, he said, "We need your help in the Bible college."
Okay.
And I said, "Okay."
From the beginning, when you arrived.
From the beginning.
Okay.
And I said, "And what is that?" And he said, "Well, we need your help as, I think it was the Dean of Men."
Oh, okay.
And I said, "Okay, that is not my plan, because my plan was to be a church planter and then have time working at radio."
Okay.
I said, it's working well.
Can I ask about what age you had when you were?
That was around, I think, 40 to 43.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I said, I need to think and that, and then they told us, but that position, it's required to live on campus.
Oh, yeah. Okay, to be a student dean or
Exactly.
dean of the men. Okay.
Yeah, it was required to stay here. And I said, well, that changed everything, because we were living outside, planting a church.
Right.
And I said, that changed everything. So I went to my wife, to my sons, and we were praying, and we understood that this was coming from the Lord. So we decided to do that. But something very interesting, the day before the classes started, they told me, "Do you know what? It's not longer necessary that you will be the dean of men, because the person that was appointed finally got here."
Okay. So wait. So you moved here. Classes were about to start. And the person either waiting for their visa or getting funds or whatever finally got here.
Exactly.
Okay. And so then what did he do? Did he work full-time in radio?
Yeah, I came full time to radio.
Okay.
And I said, okay, but I now just seeing to the back, I think the Lord had that plan.
Yeah.
And I don't have any doubt that this was from the Lord.
So you went from radio. Later, did you become the student dean? Because I remember at some point.
Yeah, I started to radio, working at radio, doing all the things on radio. I love to do that. But I need to remember exactly. I think I was asked to teach a class.
Okay.
At the time that I was at the radio. So I was working a little bit, teaching a class, but later I was asked to be the dean of students.
Right.
I think like
not just the men, but over.
Exactly. The dean of students.
Right.
And then I pray about that, and to tell you the truth, I didn't want to be the dean of students. And I said, no, that is a lot of work and a lot of responsibility, troubles with the students.
Is it a lot of paperwork too? Like a
lot? No, not too much. And that wasn't a big deal. But
so it's dean of students. Above dean of students, there's still the dean of academics, or no?
No, it's the dean of academic. It's over the teachers.
Okay, that's who's over the teachers.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so you became the dean of students.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is to supervise the students, how they are doing with the spiritual life, the social life.
There's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
And also work life and everything with the students. All the the things with the students. So
How did you go from Dean of Students to Vice President of Education?
okay. Before that, I was the Dean of Students for a while, and then I was also, after that, I was the Director of Admissions.
Okay.
So I was the Director of Admissions and also working with the recruiting students.
Right.
And because for a...
And you started the Facebook page.
Exactly.
At some point, you
Yes.
were the originator of the Bible College Facebook page.
Exactly. Because we were trying, the reason for that, we were trying to reach students.
Right.
And we were thinking what we can do. And this is the reason. Because one year, it was almost when we got here, and one semester, we had only 2 new students.
Oh, wow.
Only 2 new students. So after that, we thought what we can do to have more students. So we were trying to do different things, and then I was appointed to be the Director of Admissions, and I was I went to take a training in that, how to recruit the students.
Okay.
One of the things that I can say is that I like when I receive a responsibility or some title or whatever, I like to get training in that area. So when I was appointed to be the Director of Admissions, I went to take a training in that. So I had several ideas. I came back with all those ideas. We need to do this and this and this. And so one of the things, it was the social media. And those days, we didn't have too much besides Facebook. It was the most popular.
And in those days, the young people were on Facebook.
Exactly. Yeah. So we started with that. That's the reason, because we started the Facebook page for.
So then, from Director of Admissions,
I was appointed to be the dean, academic dean.
Academic Dean. Okay, so now we went from the student side to recruiting students to now academics.
Exactly.
Over with the faculty,
Exactly.
the professors. Okay.
Exactly. And then one of the things that I don't know exactly why I didn't feel very comfortable doing that ministry. I like it, but it was not the same like a dean of students or director of admissions. So I talked to the president and I said, I don't feel exactly doing the best here. And it was very interesting because he said, okay, no problem. Maybe you need to be the vice president.
The vice president,
of the
maybe
case.
even higher.
Higher. But even with more responsibility, I felt better doing that area.
Was it because of the direct management with the professors, or
I don't know exactly.
Okay.
I don't know exactly that. But being the vice president of education, it was a lot of responsibility because almost every department of this school is under that department.
Right.
So it's not only the faculty now, but you are over the faculty.
Right. And
over
the
the
student
students,
deans.
exactly.
Yeah. Practical
the
ministry.
library, practical ministry, work program, scholarships.
Right.
It's a lot of work, but I love to do that. I love to do that. I learn a lot doing that. So, yeah.
Okay, we have limited time, and there's a bunch that bunch of questions I have. Let's work backwards a little bit
Okay.
to some of the story from before. But before we get all the way back to the beginning, How old were your sons when you were praying? You mentioned you prayed with them and with your wife before coming on campus. How old were they?
They were teenagers.
Okay.
I think around 13 and 15. I
Okay.
think so.
Yeah, because you mentioned you were in your 40s when you came, and so they were pretty conscious of the changes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm interested in that, but then I remember from the podcast in Spanish, so I've already listened to
Okay.
a lot of your life in Spanish, right? You mentioned growing up without a father
Yeah.
yourself. And I was wondering if you have a perspective on how that has affected you and your perspective in caring for your family during the years that you were pastoring. So where have you pastored? Both in Mexico and the U.S.?
Exactly.
Right. So you've been a pastor in both the Mexico and the U.S. You've brought your family through changes, not just of one place to another, but one country to another, maybe, and then on to campus, changing from being a pastor, church planter, to radio, to faculty. So maybe first, what do you remember impacting you about growing up without a father, and then how has that made you conscious or made you think about how you took care of your family? And this is personal for me. I am in the stage of taking care of my family. My kids are small, and I want to work hard in the ministry. I want to be fruitful in my ministry, but I'm also thinking, how do I care for my family in this process?
Well, yes, I grew up without my father, and that is something that I think the rest of my life will be one part that is missing in my life. Usually I explain this like to be born without the hand. Never will have the hand. So I have expressed that from my life, I don't have the experience to tell somebody that. The experience is to have the feelings, the emotions to say to a man that. I don't have that experience. Never will have that experience.
Right.
So, but the Lord uses those experience in my life to be in that condition, to think in that. I think this was the grace of God only. Because all the time when I was a kid or a teenager, every time that I experienced the missing of a father, I prayed to the Lord and I said, Lord, let me be a father to my sons. I didn't know if I was going to get married, to have children, or I didn't know that, but I pray about that. So I think also for the grace of God, the Lord provide people that help me in different areas. So when I got married and I had my two boys, all the time in my mind was I need to spend time with my children. So I think I sometimes I didn't exactly the right things, but I remember a lot of times, and we have videos for some reason, I could have that
VHS camera.
Exactly.
Yeah, with the big tapes.
Yes. So I had a lot of memories in video. So sometimes I share with my children now, my sons, adult sons, and we remember a lot of things. So I like it to spend the Saturdays going to the park with the bikes. We went to camping, fishing. Never fish nothing, but but we spend the time together. So I try intentionally to have time with them. Sometimes we went just to play basketball, or even at the church we had the basketball court. So we went to church and then, hey, let's play a little bit here. So I spend intentionally time with my sons.
When you were in here, I think here in ministry or anywhere, it can be difficult, the balancing of time, right? And you're a testimony of being fruitful in ministry in different roles, while still balancing that time, right? But maybe while you were a pastor and your children were younger, how did you balance your time well? How did you make sure that you were giving, your best to pastor your church family, while also leading and fathering your family?
I don't know when I learned this, that I needed to enjoy every stage of my life. So I decided that we can enjoy every stage in life. So that means that we need to have the time, balancing time. So as a pastor, I decided to have a time, one day, for my family, and that was for my family. It doesn't matter what happens at church. The only thing that I told my sons was this: just in case of a funeral, we will change the time. But if it's another thing, it's for family. And I try all the time to have that. So, and also we decided to have at least one meal a day together. So we tried to have that and to work on that.
Was that one day not Saturday or Sunday, or was it did it tend to be during the week?
During the week.
Right? Yeah. And that can feel different, or it can be like, well, that's a work day. I'm supposed to be working.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So talking about, before, one more question with that. So enjoying the stages of life and contentment. I feel like that's a lesson God is trying to teach me right now. Contentment is my word of the year for this year. Be content.
Okay.
Like right now, you're in a stage of life where with Global, with Global, Rio Grande Global, you are traveling, visiting, and I'm in a stage of life where I'm not traveling as much. I don't know. Did you go through a stage of life where you felt more restrained, or more like you felt like you had to learn to be content with doing less, or being less mobile, less able to be flexible?
I think yes, but the key is to the contempt, as you said, because like now, I am entering a stage of life in which I know that my strength is coming down, because now I feel that every year it's less the strength that I have, and I am thinking I need to work and have less things to do. So I am in that age, and but also I have learned from the Lord. Again, this is the grace of God, to recognize when is the time to leave something, to say this is my time. It's no longer. I remember when I was the vice president of education, when the Lord told me this is the time to stop this ministry, and then I pray. I was sure that was the time, and when I resigned to this position, almost everyone asked me, "Are you going to go to another ministry?" And I said, "Why?" because you resign. A vice president, maybe is going to be the president in another institution. I said, no, I'm going to stay here. But for many people to resign a position like that, just to calm down, it's something
It's different.
weird.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, it's what the Lord is guiding me to do. And I know now as, just to add a little bit, for one time I remember I was asked, could you do some promotion for admissions and this? And I said, no, this is it's not my time. I need to be with my children, and I don't want to be traveling and all those things. So it's a kind of, I am restricted for my children, but not. It's the time. This is the time of the Lord. So I need to invest in them, and then when I have the time, or it's the time to do different, I will do that. So those are some things that the Lord has taught me to do that.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So between last year and this year, how many countries have you visited, or how many different places have you gone with Global?
And last year and this year, Costa Rica, Peru, Ecuador,
Chiapas, Mexico, right? Or
and
no?
Chihuahua,
Chihuahua.
Mexico, Argentina, Colombia.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, it's a lot of traveling. Very tired.
Okay.
Traveling. It's not fun.
All right. It's not vacationing. It's
No,
working.
No,
Yeah.
it's working.
Okay. So again, I want to hear now about the stage before that now. Coming here for the first time. What brought you here to the Bible college for the first time? And why did you come? And what was that experience like?
You are asking
As a student.
as a student.
As a student,
Yeah.
now going back.
Yeah. I knew that the Lord was calling me. I was serving at my local church. I was involved in playing the guitar and the different things at church. And then I started to help in a church planting that the church had. It was a church that was planting a lot of churches. So very active in
Were you still working at this time, or were you full-time in ministry?
I was working on secular work.
Right, you had
Yeah.
the company you were working for, which in the other podcast I listened to, you were growing. They wanted to promote you,
Exactly.
right? And but you were also working with your church in a church plant.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, on weekends, Saturday and Sunday, I went to that church planting, and practically I was the one to preach. But suddenly I recognized, like the fourth Sunday, that I didn't have too much to teach for the people.
Okay.
So I said, I need to get trained in that, but where?
Hey everyone, Billy Jackson here. This is our podcast, Entre Hermanos, and that means between brothers. We want the brothers and sisters of Christ hearing the stories of what God is doing to prepare future pastors and missionaries for His church. That's what we're trying to do. So if you enjoy the stories, share this podcast with others and have so that they can hear what God is doing around the world. And we hope that to grow and get better in telling these stories, and we hope that you will be able to enjoy them and praise the Lord for what He is doing.
Okay, so you were in charge of preaching for the church plant.
Yeah, and
but realizing that you needed training. Okay.
Yeah, because I think by the fourth Sunday I used all the what I knew.
Okay.
So I talked to the pastor, and then we started to look for a place to get trained. Seminaries.
You talking about you and your pastor.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I don't remember exactly now. We are talking over 40 years, 45 years. And I sent applications for, I don't know how many seminaries, and I didn't receive any answer of that. So one day I was in my faith crisis, and I said, Lord, what I'm going to do? This company is offering me a promoting position, very good position, but I know that you call me, but I don't have any answer on that. And I pray a very stupid prayer when I said, Lord, you have till tomorrow to answer me. Mm-hmm. And now I am kind of ashamed of that prayer because, but the Lord is so gracious.
Uh-huh.
And the next day, I went with my pastor to visit a mission in another city. And the first time that my pastor told me when I got his car, he told me something like that. Do you know what? I have an application from a seminary for you. And I asked him, what is that? Because I remember the prayer the last night, the night before. And I said, oh, the Lord answered my prayer. And I said, what is the school? And he said, I don't remember. And I said, okay. All those 3 days I was very nervous and just expecting about what school is that. So when we got back to his home, I asked for the application, and it was from Rio Grande.
Okay. And that's one you had sent, or one you were going to fill and then
It was just to fill
it
to
and send it.
Exactly.
By mail?
By mail.
Okay.
Yeah, from Mexico to here.
Okay.
And
And so that's how the Lord led you to. And how did He get the application papers?
that is now I know how the pastor got the application. You said that, right? How the
how did
application,
he have it?
And an alumni went to live in our town.
Okay.
Because he was working in something, so he got that. In our town, we had only that church. So this man came to visit the church.
Okay.
And he gave the application.
And he left the papers there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 5 years before that.
Oh my. Okay.
So now I know the story because the man that did that is my friend now.
Oh wow.
So,
What's his name?
Luis Orozco.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he had visited, left the papers. You filled them out and sent them. Okay. So now we know. How you got in contact. It's not through Facebook, not through promotion.
Nothing.
But the Lord did use an alumni, a graduate,
Exactly.
in a unique way. That's interesting. Okay. How did you tell your employer that you were leaving?
Well, when I received the answer of the school that I was accepted and I was working on all those things, I remember when I went to my boss and I said, I need a permit for tomorrow to not coming to work. And he asked me, what is the reason? And I said, I'm going to get my passport. And he said, that means that you are leaving the work. And I said, yes. And why? And I explained him, well, I have these plans, and then they said, but we have a promotion for you. And I said, well, thank you for that, and I appreciate that. Really, I appreciate that, but I have something better to do.
Did they ask you, and you explained that you were going to go study?
Yeah, to be a pastor.
Okay.
I told them.
Did they ask you, like, how much are they going to pay you? Like,
no.
We'll pay you more?
No.
Something better.
Actually, they were very, how do you say, respectful.
Oh, okay.
Because they said, okay, well, that's fine, but you are a good worker here. We would like to keep you here, and then they show a lot of respect for that.
Okay. Okay.
And I think that is not for me, but for what the Lord allowed me to learn in that company and to work very faithful for them and to show my appreciation for the work. And I think it's very important for a Christian to be a Christian in the place where he is working.
Yeah. Yeah, in the workplace, to have a good testimony before the world that's watching.
Exactly.
Us, right? Yeah. Okay, we're to our last section. This is our last 15 minutes. And I still have tons of questions. I'm going to go close that door.
Okay.
Ciao. Okay. Okay. So I have to choose which things we're going to talk about.
Okay.
How did you meet your wife?
Okay.
Did you meet her here?
Yes.
Okay.
I met her here. I remember all the time I said in this, that was, how do you say in English? We say in Spanish, amor a primera vista, love
At
to
first sight.
first sight.
Love at first sight.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I remember when I was here at the school, and I remember in what we have now, the multipurpose building, was the cafeteria.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I was working in the cafeteria.
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
And I saw her the beginning of the semester, and I said, oh, this is a new girl. And immediately I thought, oh, that girl is the girl that I would like to marry. But I never said nothing to her. I pray about that for several months before that. So,
yeah. Okay. There's a podcast, one of the English podcasts of two students, the episode that just came out is a similar story,
Okay.
where he prayed, Lord, like if she's the one, like, and there was another guy, he's like, Lord, please take that guy away. Okay, and then at what point did you get married?
When I finished the school, let's see, I think like 8-10 months later.
Okay.
Finished the school.
All right. Okay. Another thing I wanted you to hear about was, were you part of one of the ambassador groups or the music groups?
Yeah. Almost all the years that I was a student, I participated in music groups.
Okay. Were you here for 4 years?
4 years.
The full bachelor's. Okay.
Exactly.
And so during those summers, you were also, did you go like on tour with the music group?
Yeah, I went on tour. We went to Mexico. We went to Belize.
Okay. So I thought I knew that there was at least some groups, or at least a group that had done that. Was that every year you went through Mexico, or just 1 year? Or do you remember?
Well, I remember that we went twice to Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
On tour in Mexico. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever go on tour in the U.S.?
No. The only thing that I did, I was some weekends to San Antonio or Houston or Dallas. It was just short trips.
With the music group?
With the music group.
What was it called at that time? Was it the Echoes, the Ambassadors?
No, I think it was called the Messengers, I think.
The Messengers, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have even some old cassette tapes with music from those early music groups. We're not recording our music team right now. It would be cool if we could record the music again. Were there two groups then, or just one group? Because
sometimes it was two. I remember when I went to Mexico, a group of girls went to the U.S.
Okay, because right now the ambassadors mostly are for promotion of the school, but in the United States.
Exactly.
And I really appreciate that because then our churches that support us can meet the students. But in Mexico, it would be not only that, but to recruit new students.
Exactly. It was to recruit the students.
Okay, that would be cool to do again sometime. Okay, something that I wanted to a cultural part, because remember now we're in English and we get to we're talking to our brothers and sisters that are listening in English. Something I have come to love Latin American culture, right? The language is like the key to unlock the door, right? When you can speak the language. I don't know if you remember when I came to learn Spanish, and you would share with me like tongue twisters or sayings and Mexican sayings, and I'd be like, "What?" And I love trying to understand more and more about the different cultures. There are like beautiful parts. There are also strange parts. I realize my culture is strange sometimes in different ways. Okay, so this is the most recent thing I am working on understanding. We already know Americans are more strict on time, right? United States people, Europeans like to be on time. Latinos are more flexible. Even whenever you're like, you can see that best when you're making a party. Like, if it's a Mexican party, everyone brings something. Maybe it's gonna be late, but it's gonna be a good party. You know, like Americans are like, okay, you're bringing this, you bring this. Okay, it will be at this time. But something I have recently started seeing more is that Latinos are sometimes more formal. They like formality sometimes. They're serious. Like the important moment is something that Latinos take seriously sometimes. And Americans, I see in my culture that we like casual sometimes. You know, to be friends is to be casual, right? That's why I have struggled with the usted, tú. Like for me, usted is distance, formal distance. But so I don't know if you have anything to share about that perspective of how have you seen, or what can you share about Latin culture enjoying and being good at a formal moment? I will share an experience. When I first came, I was learning Spanish, but I was also helping with the students in the media department. And we got to before graduation, right? And some of the students from the media department were graduating. So we have our meeting like normal. I think it's just a normal meeting. But then I realized every person is sharing a memory about this person. Every person will go around the table and say why this person is important to me. Like, why are they special? I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to say. I barely know. I know this person for maybe 1 semester. I don't speak Spanish. And so that is like, and I don't realize that wasn't a strange thing. That's something that Latinos are good at doing, like appreciating, like this is a serious moment. We are going to say why we appreciate our brother. Well, maybe we will be like, oh yeah, they're leaving. Too bad. I don't know if you have anything to share about that to help us understand more about that.
Well, maybe it's like something that we have is if I have a friend that has years that I haven't see him, and suddenly I got his city and I said, hey, I am here. Usually he's going to do maybe 2 things. One is coming to, maybe he's coming to visit me at the place where I am, or he's going to invite me for a dinner or lunch, but very formal. And it doesn't matter what is happening in his life or whatever, he's going to organize something and even if we have some other friends, he's going to invite those friends. Say, hey, David is here. We are going to have a lunch or a dinner, and please come. And so that is something very special.
Yeah.
And
It's important.
It's important.
Yeah.
In your culture, if you are visiting something and you say, hey, I am here, and he said, oh, okay, well, I can't receive you now. Maybe let's see my schedule. What about next week? So,
Or if someone goes to a town, but it's for business or something else,
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I know someone. My friend lives here.
Yeah, exactly. But for us, it's very, very formal. We went just this past weekend. We went to New Mexico to preaching in a church, and then a couple of our students, married now, are in that area.
In New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Is it Itzel?
No, it's Jordan and Deborah.
Ah, okay.
And they asked us if we could go to have the lunch with them at their home, and they have a very special time. So it's formal that. It's not like you said, oh, Brother Loyola, I heard that he was here, but that's good. No, they wanted for us to be at their home, something special, to spend the time.
Right.
And so that is part of our culture. And
Another thing I've noticed is, several times is coming into a meeting, like just greeting every person
Exactly.
individually, like
Yeah.
this, and that is just recognizing each person as an individual. While maybe an American would just say, "Hey, hello, everyone,"
Yep.
and sit down.
Or another thing, if you and I are talking, and somebody is passing here, hey, hello, how are you doing? But in your culture, if you are talking with somebody else and somebody else is walking,
Yeah.
nothing. We are in
we are
this
talking,
business
yeah.
now, and that is not a respect for or lacking of respect for the other person. No, it's part of the culture.
Right.
But
yeah.
we interrupt our conversation at, hey, how are you doing?
Right.
And we have a little bit of talking.
So it's interesting how the flexibility goes with the more formal sometimes, while the structured and the casual or informal goes together sometimes. I guess it's been in my mind because of this podcast.
Oh, okay.
My students, Andy and Javier,
Yeah.
that help with the Spanish podcast, want it to be more formal.
Yeah.
This is an important place.
Exactly.
These are important people. And so we need to have a plan and a structure. We need to make sure they know that we
show
appreciate
respect.
them,
Yeah.
show respect. And that is good. But for me, it's like, no, a friendly place means relax.
Exactly.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
And like, let's just keep it like low key, calm, you know? And so I have appreciated seeing that. And I think I especially appreciate it when in the church or at a party, when my Latino brother or sister knows it is the moment to stop and appreciate a person, to say, we are thankful because this person, the Lord has used them in this way, or to stop and say, let's pray, because there's a serious moment. So that has been something, the other side of the flexible, informal, seeing the other side has been helpful to me, and I want my brothers and sisters in America, in the United States, to see that and appreciate it, because sometimes it can be strange to us.
Yeah. Well, cultures, the key to understand cultures is only different. There is no bad thing in a culture or good thing in a culture. It's different. It's different, and that is the key to understand that.
Right. Yeah. Appreciating how the Lord has made us, and the different ways that we show respect, the different ways that we appreciate each other, and stuff like that. So, yeah. Well, thank you. I really appreciate your time here. I appreciate being able to watch you and your ministry, your family. That has been a testimony to me. In the beginning, like those first few years after I learned Spanish, it was very hard for me in Spanish because I wanted to be a friend and get close, but I have lots of respect for you. So it's like in Spanish, I know this is usted, but for me, the American is like, no, you're my brother. I want to be like have that closeness. You know?
Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
No, thank you so much. It's a great privilege to share a little bit what the Lord is doing in my life.